Hi guys, Ted Elsner, Sacramento Historical Fencing Academy. Another beautiful day, a little overcast today, but that's all right. Today I want to talk about footwork. Specifically, I did a video just the other day, went up a week or two ago, about, footwork for beginners. And there was a question that came up in that video about kind of the hip hinge that we were doing and some of the depictions that appear in Meyer that we weren't necessarily copying. I think that an important part of that video is that it is a beginner's video. It's showing a very kind of idealized situation with footwork. A big part of Meyer's core material comes from a dynamic that involves a rotating of the hips, right? We want to open them up. If I just turn my hip, I don't actually open them. I need to also move my feet. And there's a couple of different ways that that can happen. One, and the way that we prefer to teach it, at least initially, is a turn on the ball of the foot. Now, a question that was posed to me was, doesn't this actually keep the hips rather closed, right? If I'm facing you and I turn and I'm going to step directly at you, then my hips are more closed in this format than if I were to turn on the heel of my foot so that I could then open my stance a little bit wider to step straight forward. And the answer to that is, well, yeah, it does if my intent is to step straight in on the person, result in the hips being a little bit more closed. But one of the ways that we teach it is that we actually never are stepping directly at our opponent. We're always going to step to one side or the other slightly. So when I turn and I take my step here, I'm not stepping straight forward, but I'm going to step slightly off to one side. So my hips are open for the line that I'm going to take. Similarly, if I'm going to step completely across the line, really doesn't matter, right? If I turn on my heel and step through, or I turn on the ball of my foot and step through, either way the hips are going to be initially closed to me. It's just the nature of the step until I get all the way through and then correct the false step as it appears in Meyer. So those are two. A third one, though, that comes up is a lot of times you'll see me just standing like this, where I have that front foot already turned out. You watch people that do this footwork a lot, and it starts to turn into a situation where we're preloading that foot already turned anyway to minimize the tell. Early on, we like the tell. It's something intentional and something that I may want to do, but you eventually kind of get used to this position. And so you'll find yourself stepping forward with a turned out foot already prepared, right? Especially if I'm going to come in to attack, I might step in with the turned out foot so that I can immediately have my strike ready to come in behind it. And that helps to explain some of the different positions that we see appear in Meyer, where we'll have, both feet turned out but not up on the heel. There really is just a variety of different positions. You nearly end up at times into almost like fifth position, I think it's fifth position in ballet, where you have your feet in opposite stance. I don't recommend this for beginners, but with experience it absolutely is something that you'll find that you tend to do. And then once that happens, that problem of, well, if I've stepped forward already turned out and I want to step straight in, okay, cool. That's fine. Doesn't matter at that point. I already have the necessary openness to my hip to be able to get there, okay? Or conversely, I've stepped in and I want to strike around to the side. Also perfectly fine. It's just one of those elements that's going to show up in it. Now, I should note for my videos, right? A lot of times I'm going to be standing very upright, and this is a function of a mistake I made with the building of my Pell. I really need to lop a couple of inches off the bottom and bring it down lower, because another element of the footwork is I always want my shoulders at the height of my strike. So if I want to strike nice and long to the arms, I'll get a better reach here than if I were to stand up and come down with the sword. Just that sinking is going to get me a couple extra inches. My targets on this particular Pell are just too high, is realistically the problem that we're looking at. So if you're going to build your Pell, especially if you're going to do it for Meyer, make it a little bit shorter, right? It's easy to stand upright like this. We do it every day. It's our normal, everyday kind of thing. If I get low, that's then what needs practice, right? Getting down here and getting used to the idea that I'm going to be down low, be able to turn through and strike. That's hard, right? That takes practice, okay? Gathering steps without bouncing or bobbing, right? Where I'm going to be able to come together and extend, and come together and extend, and stay nice and low. Again, something that takes practice. Roger Norling is famous in his classes that he gives for shouting at people, lower. You need to get lower again and again and again. So when you're doing your footwork, practice it as low as you can. Aid yourself in your home training by making your Pell low enough, your targets low enough that you're forced to get low. Yeah, attacking higher can be at times more difficult, but I personally don't find it particularly difficult. If I'm fencing someone like this that's taller than me, I'll get down low. I'm going to fight from down here. Where are they going to attack me? They're going to come to my head. The lower openings are too small. The upper openings are therefore prioritized. I've just at that point removed a lot of concern that I have for myself because I don't have to worry about my lower openings. The likelihood is they're not going to come there. Upper openings, therefore, I can focus on a lot better. So, what do you think? Do you have questions about footwork? Do you disagree with the way that I'm presenting it? Don't be afraid, I guess, to ask those questions in the comments. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, join us on our live chats on Sundays, and come with a question and see if we can answer it for you.